Hello again. The Critical Sorcerer, the Millennial Dragon. Brian Jennings here. This channel is dedicated to processing my relationship with Quentin Tarantino. I wrote him a series of letters which set into motion a series of events that led to where we are now. He canceled his film, The Movie Critic, last year because of me, and now we're embroiled in a disgusting, sick, psychic siege. Everyone around him, right? They all insulate his evil, right? He lies to them. They believe him. He'll always deny, right? But here's my point, right? If I'm just mentally ill, right? What does he lose in releasing the footage from Jackie Brown, the conversation with Robert De Niro last year? Right? Just answer me that. If the truth is that I'm not well, that nothing that I'm saying is true, right, then he loses nothing and, right, has compassion, right, and respects his fans, right? But the reality is that he's a sick degenerate. He's not a cool guy, right? Right? He's a depraved psychological mess, right? Interested in power. Right? He's not interested in writing. Right? He's not a fucking writer. Right? He's a degenerate. That's what he is. Right? Right? Brad Pitt played the role of Cliff Booth because Brad Pitt is Cliff Booth. They're the same story. Writers write what they know. They change the name, they change the locale, and that's exactly what happened. Right? Brad Pitt beat up Angelina Jolie on an airplane in 2016 and got away with it. Quentin pulled that story out of the air, put it in the water, right? And then cast Brad Pitt to play himself because Cliff Booth murdered his wife on a boat and got away with it, right? They're not similar stories, right? They're the same stories, right? And so in that way, right? The name of the novel, right? I've written a novel. We're reading through the novel. It's called Building a Coven, right? As in a coven of witches, right? Because the things that people refer to as psychic, remote viewing, telekinesis, telepathy, psychokinesis, thaumaturgy are the same things that people refer to as magic and sorcery, right? They're not similar things. They're the same things, right? The words are different. The tactics are the same, right? So, the novel spans from May of 2021 through February of 2025. I am currently at mondegreen, right, which is fish, which is clam, right? They are involved, right? I wrote them a series of letters about helping Quentin and myself reconcile. Now I see there is no reconciliation, nor do I want to play that role, right? No. He's a degenerate, right? He doesn't deserve any of the success that he's gotten, right? He thinks that satanic occultism is cool, right? That fine fucking witch he calls a wife thinks satanic occultism is cool, right? That they have a sick Pulp Fiction sex dungeon, right? With pictures of Baphomet, right? I know the game, right? So I'll say, having read the introduction of this, right, by Arthur Edmund Waite, I see why his tarot deck is the most popular. Very sage, wise scholar who espouses that Levi was, he was like caught in the middle of something, essentially, that he was never interested in scholasticism in the traditional sense, right? That he had an intellectual predilection as a child, and so the forces around him pushed him down the track of, right, clergy, seminary, right? And of course, the things that we do in childhood come to define our whole lives, right? So, right, we're reading through the novel. I live in perpetual fear. I'm sorry about the dead air, but I'm constantly in this state of anxiety, right? Every night is so difficult when I let my dogs in because they'll bark and it just sends me skyrocketing into my fear. And so what do I mean when I say that? I'm about to start reading on the novel, but what I mean is that Quentin has engendered a psychology into both of our minds, right, that behooves us to reconcile, to come together. And if we don't, right, then we're both mentally ill, right? And so this is my point when I say, oh, if I die, Quentin has no more problems. And this is my point when I say that he's a sick degenerate, right? That he like it's so fucking pathological and evil to me. I can't, right? It's just like beyond the beyond, right? He said, oh no, I'm gonna, right? Like, oh no, this guy hurt me, right? This is, right, mysterious, like occult bullshit, like I'm gonna use my mind. I'm gonna crawl all the way into this guy's mind to overwhelm him and make him blow his brains out. Right? That's like, right? And so why do I say that? Because the pendulum swings both ways, right? Because he crawled into my mind, and in reflex to that, I crawled all the way into his mind. And I could talk about his psychological complexes just as much as he's reduced me to mine to all of the Hollywood elite. Right? And perhaps I will a little later in this video. Right? But my point is that now, right, now he knows, right, that he won't succeed in compelling me to blow my brains out, right? And so I live in perpetual fear that he's going to send people here to murder my entire family so that he no longer has any problems, right? Because he's a fucking base degenerate. And if he doesn't do that, right, I live in perpetual anxiety that he's going to use palpable black magic evil to try to destroy my body with his mind, right? Which anyone can do. This is not, right? I betrayed no master, right? And so I've written the Pope, right? I've written everyone around him, right? And essentially they're all just as evil as he is, right? If not more so, right? Tacit acceptance of evil. Who's more evil? Hitler or all the business owners who just said, oh, okay, hey, I'm not into politics, right?